You guys, welcome back. I don't know if you all remember a couple of months ago on the channel, and by a couple, I mean 8 months ago on my channel, we did a video about my first graded card submission that I would be sending in. And I was so excited. I was doing a bulk submission to CGC, and at that time I was quoted 45 to 60 days for the return. A good friend of mine, Ferreratron Pokemon, on Instagram had recommended them, and I had heard a lot of really good things. And I had had a lot of friends who had pleasant experiences with CGC, and I was convinced and ready to send in my first submission. Needless to say, considering I thought I would be making this video back in February, things didn't go quite as planned. I have a lot of thoughts that I want to share with everybody about my experience, about grading in general, and all of that, but I think it needs to be broken up into two parts. I'm going to go ahead and do the exciting part, what you guys are here for, which is the grades of the cards we looked at together in December. Alright, before we get into looking at the grades, I want to say a few things about the whole process. Please don't feel compelled to listen to it if you don't want to. You can always skip ahead, but I would appreciate anybody that takes the time to listen to what I'm about to say. Especially if you saw the first part of this video where I spoke very highly about CGC. Obviously, my experience did not go as planned. It is now July. My submission was just a regular bulk submission that was supposed to be returned within 45 to 60 business days. Now, from friends that I had talked to who had gotten submissions back just a matter of days or weeks before I sent mine in, they had received their submissions back within that time frame and sometimes even before. But with the boom in Pokemon, obviously CGC took a huge hit in the volume of submissions they were receiving, and it gave them a backlog. But CGC does things a little bit differently than PSA or Beckett. They take your money up front, or they used to. When I sent my submission in, they took the money. And I didn't get my cards back until yesterday, which was July 1st. So my 45 to 60 day sub turned into 7 months of just sitting, you know. My cards were marked as received for 5.5 months before they were even scheduled to be graded. So my first issue is people submitting things and having to pay for them up front, and then the original quoted time just being absolutely ignored. I think if you're a company and you're taking people's money up front, you need to try your best to honor the time frame that you have given them first. I know that Express and all of that walkthroughs are going to take priority because they're expensive, but there comes a time for businesses where you need to put customer service ahead of profit if it's just for like 2 days. Halt all express shipments, express subs for like a week or two to get caught up on the people who had paid and were waiting in limbo and just having to hear the estimated wait time, extensions every 2 weeks. Because it went from 45 to 60 to 81 days to 100 days, and now it's over 200 days. And that doesn't sit well with me. Now, when they raised their prices and when they did everything that they did, they changed the way that they take payment for submissions, and they do not take payment now until you're scheduled for grading. But the entire way that situation was handled put a bad taste in my mouth about the company. I understand that you're busy. I understand that you have a lot of submissions that you weren't really expecting. But if a customer has paid up front because you require it for a service, then you should try to honor that time frame that you told them. Number 2, they say they do first in, first out. I have spoken with very many people who have sent in bulk submissions after I did that have received them long before now. A nice gentleman that I had spoken to on Instagram quite a few times had a bulk submission of over 200 cards that was received 3 weeks after mine, he got his back, I think at the end of May or beginning of June. So his were received almost a month after, or 3 weeks after mine, and he got his back a month or more before I did. So don't say first in, first out unless you mean first in, first out. And I know what you're thinking. Well, maybe he didn't get bulk. Yeah, it was a bulk submission. He showed me his forms and everything, like pictures of the screen from his CGC submission page. I just think that's really sketchy, especially because he was after the cutoff, I think, of having to pay up front for things, but his was still done before mine and probably thousands of other people who had, sent in submissions that they had already paid for to have graded. The third thing that really, really bothers me is the lack. I'm sorry that my thoughts are so discombobulated. I've sat down to record this like 6 times. And this has been like a super not great experience for anybody involved. So we sent in a total of like 66 cards, right? My 58, and then some for Michelle, and one for a follower of mine on Instagram who wanted to have one graded. Those got back to me months ago, like not months, probably like a month and a half ago. Because they didn't have subgrades, they were graded, and then there was like a disconnect, and these didn't get graded at the same time, which I thought was weird. I don't know if they grade subgrades and no subgrades at different times, or if there's different people that do that. Whatever, there was a huge time difference. But my daughter got her cards back, my Instagram follower got his card back. He was pretty happy with the grade, and that's that. But I want you guys to know first I have already looked at all of the grades for the cards. This is not going to be like a shocking reveal video, like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe we got this. I've looked at them. I looked at them online. I've looked at them the many times I tried to record this before, and I'm not happy with some of the grades. But that's not all on CGC being tough graders. That's on me as a collector not being as well educated in grading as I thought. I need to get better educated in how they grade corners, how they grade surface on textured cards, what I should be looking for on the surfaces, corners, and edges other than the obvious whiting. Is it the shape of the corners or, anything like that? What kind of lights I need to be looking at my cards under, especially if they're cards that I'm going to sell. Just things to really scrutinize and minimize the amount of unsellable cards that I send in for grading. When I made posts expressing my concern about the backlogs and everything, CGC kind of took it and just said, those are estimated times. Estimated. They don't mean you will get your cards back within that amount of time. And that's not a good answer to me of why it's taken you like 5 months to even look at my cards. Especially, it all really goes back to the first point. If somebody has paid for a service, you need to give them that service, or you need to refund their money until you're ready to perform that service. My cards sat in scheduled for grading for over a month. They didn't even move out of scheduled for grading because I checked every single day. All of a sudden, they were scheduled for grading, and then they went directly to like finalized, imaged, and shipped, which maybe I missed today, but I really don't think so. I've been looking at this constantly for the past while. I think I've talked enough. I'm sorry, it's been like 10 minutes already. But I will flip over to the different screen, and we will start checking out the grades on some of these. Brace yourself, it's going to be a shock. So, we're starting with the lowest and going to the highest. Now, like I said, these all have subgrades, meaning it gives us detailed explanations by numbers on what we get for centering, surface, corners, and edges. I, like I said, need to get better versed in how cards are graded and what specifically is looked at, because I really was expecting a lot of these to get 8s, 9s, 10s. 6.5. So, upon initial inspection, centering doesn't look bad, which is why I chose this specific card. But there is some weird bubbly thing happening up at the top that I did not notice before I sent it in. And there's a little whiting around some of the corners, which, you know, will keep it from getting a 10. But we did send in 2 of these. Just, again, that's on me for not being super careful with how well I looked at cards before I sent them in to get graded. So obviously a 6.5 and a 7.5, these are not sellable. These are not profitable cards. I don't even think I could sell these for the cost that it was to grade them. I really don't think these are even like $15 cards, because the Charizard promos from Hidden Fates, everybody has those. They're everywhere. They made so many 10s or so many reprints. It's so that we'll count that as a loss. That was bad. So 7.5 for the Treven and Dusknoir. Now this is pretty similar to the Charizard. It's the surface that was the issue. And these cards that are super colorful, super pretty, and have a whole lot going on, it's really hard to tell with the naked eye like what the issues with the surface is. But around the edges of a lot of the GX cards, you get that weird like ripply issue, and especially promos like this that were held in with prongs have a lot of issues around the top where they're held. There's indentions, there's like the hollowy shimmery film that's on top gets like pulled up. It's bad. But another 7.5. Most of the evolutions were for my personal collection, unless they got super low grades like this, and then they're just going to either be given away or just cracked and put back with the set or with my evolution stuff. Like I said, most of these we do have duplicates of, so it's okay. Now this one I was a little upset by, because I thought I picked the best one out of the 5 of these that we have. And I think I paid too much attention to centering and not enough on anything else. So for these cards, obviously with the whiting on the back, I was expecting this to get an 8.5 or a 9. But what I wasn't paying attention to was all of the little like paint flecks that are missing all around the surface of the card. Like if you look at the edges, all of that missing paint. And I can see it better now than I could then. I think it was excitement that blinded me, really. But in a lot of the cards from Battle Styles, a lot of the cards from Chilling Reign are missing like a lot of that color around the textured parts of, or on those textured cards. So something to definitely make sure you're looking out for when you send in cards for grading. Same story here for the Lapras VMAX. 7.5, that was going to be a sell card. The Evel's Hall was not a sell. This guy, I thought about getting it graded as an error, but I don't know how they do off-center or off-miscut or anything like that. So I just sent it in regular, and I got an 8, which isn't bad. And I'm pretty sure this guy is going to stay in my collection. I like him. He's wonky. All the Shining Mews that I pulled were miscut pretty badly. Alright, we've got one for sure that was a sell card, Naganadel. I thought, why not throw a rainbow in there? We don't have any rainbows. Sell a rainbow. Naganadel and Poipole were pretty popular. Sun and Moon. I knew the centering was a little wonky, but it looked pretty clean to me. And the same issue here with the other 2 cards that received pretty low grades is the surface. Centering, bad, we knew. We can see it, but there's nothing I could... Alright, so getting into more 8.5s here. Or we're getting into the 8.5s. We're done with the 8s now. This was one that was honestly super upsetting. This one was for Nikki's personal collection, 8.5. The full arts and any of the texture cards seem to have hard to detect to the naked eye or the untrained eye issues, because that's where we're getting hit with a lot of these textured cards is the surface. So we'll see a lot of pretty low scores there for the surface. Then we've got our lovely stained glass promo. I was really hoping it would get a 9, but you know, things happen. They have kind of like a tool thing online. It's a transparent sheet that shows you where all your lines should be, and you put it over the card, and it basically shows you how well it's centered. Obviously, it's not going to tell you if it's this when it's an 8, if it's this, it's a 7. But it shows you what perfect centering should look like. So that's definitely something that I'm going to get and take advantage of fully before I send in another submission to any grading company ever. just to help prevent waste or loss, like money loss, because some of these I am going to be cracking, so I've essentially just wasted the money on grading. Very, very sad. Again, this one was for Nikki, was really hoping it would get a 9. But another thing I need to do more research on is the corners, how corners are graded. Is it the shape? Because there's not much whiting or discoloration. The corners look super nice to me. So I'm not really sure. If you guys know anything about how corners are graded, you can let me know down in the comments below, but I will be doing my own research. Don't think I'm just like bumming off you guys and relying solely on your expertise. My Eevee! All of our hidden fates got 8.5s, it seems like. But again, the surface, and this has texture. I'm not sure if this is one of the later prints where like the whole card felt weirdly textured. But if it is, I can understand. Again, it fits the theme of any kind of textured surface having harder to detect issues for people, you know, like you and me. This card made me so butthurt. I was so upset. Because it's the only one that I have. If you follow me on social media, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I collect full art trainers. This was my only one, and I was hoping that it would get like a 9 or a 9.5. I knew the centering wasn't perfect, but I was hoping for a 9 or a 9.5 because it looks so clean otherwise. Like the back, I don't see any white. I remember being so excited when this was pulled. I was hoping that I could sell it and then afford to purchase a raw one for my binder, as well as one or two of the other trainers that I was missing. But at an 8.5, I don't really think it's worth selling. I'll try to get some pricing information to put in post of the video for you guys, but I'm not going to go through and price all of these. I'll probably just show prices for ones that I had planned on selling, because I did give you guys a rundown of what I was expecting to profit if I had, you know, fallen into that 60-day timeline. But even then, it could have changed. Pikachu VMAX, I was very excited to pull the Chunky Boy. We have a Pikachu shelf, so I was hoping this would get a 9 so we could display it. But it'll be displayed anyways. I think it's pretty cute. Nice boy. Again, the surface. The surface is the lowest subgrade, and it is on a textured card. It doesn't look bad to me. The centering was pretty good. The edges, I think, are another thing that kind of go poorly on the textured cards. They just get all weird with the coloring and the paint or the ink or whatever. Like it doesn't want to stick to the texture around the edges. A lot of the newer cards from Battle Styles, from Chilling Reign, they just look super rough around right where the blade cuts through the cards. So here we go. This was another that I had planned to sell because I have so many of these Ancient Mew cards, and honestly I'm not sure if it's worth selling since it's an 8.5. But I really had thought this one was going to get a 9. I spent a long time going through and looking and trying to see which promo I wanted to open to send in for grading, hoping that I would get a 9 so I could sell it to fund some other parts of my collection. But, you know, here we are with an 8.5. Did you guys know that Dunkaroos are back? Hashtag not a sponsor. But they're back. Anyways. We sent in 2 of the Mimikyus. One was to grade for a personal collection and one was to sell. This one got an 8.5, so obviously this is the one that I'm going to keep since we haven't seen it. The other one yet obviously got a little bit of a higher grade. But these, with the reverse hollow, they're so easy to scratch. Having that thin hollow foil sheet is super, super hard to keep 100% clean. And like I said, CGC, tough graders. So, was expecting a 9, didn't happen. Obviously, these are all 8.5s. Was expecting a 9 on most of them, didn't happen. Kind of upset about this guy, but what can we do? I knew centering was wonky, but I did not think anything else was majorly wrong with it other than the nick in the upper corner. I was assuming it would get a 9 because I've seen there's a lot of dust on this one. They ship them in cardboard, so there's like little cardboard flakes all over some of the cases. I've seen cards get 9s and 10s at PSA with bigger nicks, but I think the centering is really what got it because the centering is way off. But that's the only one I had, so I didn't have a choice on which one I sent in. This was another one that was going to be sold for to fund other collection purchases, but again, with the 8.5, it just, people like to buy 9s and 10s. The value tends to drop off pretty significantly, unless you're talking like a gold star, base set hollow, something like that. But another 8.5. The centering just like really killed. These would have gotten a 9 if the centering was a 9 on both of them, because the rest of the grades were high enough to where that average would have been brought back up. We've got a Shining Lugia, a promo from Shining Legends, 8.5. Was hoping that would be a 9 as well. I can stop saying that. I was hoping most of these were 9s. Now we're getting into good stuff. If you remember, I submitted a whole lot of Charizards. A lot. I think we had, what, like 15 Charizards? So we've already seen 2, and they were 2 of the lowest grades we got. Fair, right? Charizard. Population control conspiracy. No, it turns out they were just held by prongs and not in good shape. Again, with this guy, surface, and centering. We knew centering was off. It's wonky. But again, only 1, so... Most of the Charizards were for Nikki's collection, but some of them we did plan to sell since we do have quite a few duplicates of them. I didn't opt to have this graded as an error, and I think that's what messed me up so much on the surface, because I've seen quite a few people who have Charizards just like this. There's stuff on the outside. The dot right there. The missing paint fleck. I've seen so many other people have it in the exact same spot. So I was thinking maybe it was an error, but because I didn't click the button to have it graded as an error, obviously it's just going to be graded as is, so it's considered like a blemish. Now this one really shocked the heck out of me. And I don't know if it's just because... I don't know if it's just because I know somebody who purchased one of these for me, and they got a PSA 10, but 8.5. I was aware of the centering. I was very aware of the centering. I was hoping for a 9, so it would be a nice round number. One main reason I'm not liking the half grades from CGC is it's not centered in the box. Do we see that? Why is it not centered in the box? Do they match the centering of their number to the centering of the card? Because I don't like that. But I didn't see hardly anything wrong with it. I knew the centering was off by a little bit, but honestly, after looking over the one that I had sent somebody because they purchased it from me, there was a visible nick on the back of it, and there's still got a PSA 10, so I was very confused about that. Happy for them nonetheless, because it's an amazing piece to have in your collection, but there was a visible flaw, which was strange. This, again, was for Nikki's personal collection. It is the only team-up Charizard promo we have. A little upset about the grade, but this was from a good friend of ours, Cheese. We're not too upset, obviously, with the grade. It's not something that we had in our possession since it was pulled from the box. So I don't know if it was, like, maybe stored improperly, or maybe because it's one of the promos, it just wasn't cut the best. Obviously, centering is a little bit off, but overall, meh. It's nice to have them slabbed. Alright, in our last 8.5, we have a Dragon Majesty Charizard Holo. I can't really remember if we had planned on selling absolutely all of those Charizards, or I can't remember exactly which ones we had planned to sell. Like I said earlier, I think it was just kind of up in the air, depending on what they got. It's gonna be a long video, guys. We got a lot more to look at. So, now we're getting into the 9s. We will scoot these to the side. Scoot. Scoot. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Alright, so a lot of these are still going to be for sale. Some of them no. I'll try to point out which ones, and then if you are interested in purchasing them, any information on the sales will be on my Instagram. That is where I predominantly try to sell, because eBay fees suck. Alright, so we've got our Celebi Amazing Rare. Very happy about the 9. A little confused about the surface. Again, has to be something with that texture, that there's blemishes in there that we can't see. Overall, pretty happy with that. These were really expensive back when I first recorded the first half of this video, or this, I guess, part 1 of the video, which was back in December. They were very expensive, and now I don't think they're very expensive at all. Another one for Nikki's personal collection. Very happy about the 9. Bam! We got a 9 for our Mimikyu character card. This one is definitely going to be for sale. I don't have any pricing information. If there's pricing information in post, it's because I went in and put it in there. Lycanroc Full Art Shiny. Full Art Shinies from Hidden Fates. Always, I feel like, going to sell well because Hidden Fates is such an iconic set. So I'm excited that we do have some 9s in here as well. I don't know why I almost said something else, but Arceus Dialga, we got a 9 here. Very, very nice. That is also going to be for sale because I hate ADP. Our gold Solgaleo got a 9. I knew centering was wonky, but overall, kind of surprised because I was really up in the air with what this one was going to get. So, happy with the 9. That's one that's also going to be for sale. Lunala, going to be up for sale. Hoping to fund some of the full art trainers that we need. The lowest category every single time is the surface, so I really want to get a little more educated on that. This guy's also going to be for sale. Super upset that this did not get a 9.5 or a 10, because I was sure that it was going to get that, but again, the surface. The centering is what took the hardest hit on this one, so it seems like surface was pretty clean, or at least there was no flaws that they could detect. Regardless, it'll be up for sale. We have so many of these because Hidden Fates, like I said, was everywhere. We've got some pre-release promos. These guys were super expensive. I think they were going for like $255 when I made the video for a PSA 9. So I think they're now going for like $100 for a CGC 9, which is a significant price cut. But we've seen a lot of scalpers leave the community. We've seen a lot of things calm down and prices fizzle back to normal. So the rewards outweighs the fact that prices are dropping are good more so than bad is what I'm trying to say. I'm happier that they're lower because it means that everything's more attainable for everybody else. Rayquaza, amazing rare. We got a 9 here. Our Instagram follower who sent one in, Keith, he got a 9.5 on his. Super excited. So we did get a mint 9. Amazing rare Rayquaza. That guy will be for sale. I want to show that with the other ones, so we're going to set that over there. Umbreon, very nice, got a 9. Haven't decided if we're going to sell that or if we're going to keep it with the collection. I have some collection goals to revisit. Birds. So many birds. 9. Not too shabby, that one will be for sale. We've got a 9 for our Sylveon. A lot of our evolutions got 9s, which is super exciting. So I might make a display with them. I might sell some of them. I'm just not entirely sure yet. It really depends. Our Espeon Full Art also got a 9. Very nice. Full Art Birdies, a 9. This will be for sale for sure. I'm not a bird collector, so the money will be put to good use. Ho-Oh GX, a 9. Another shiny from Hidden Fates. And we've got a Babam, a Lycanroc. This is also going to be for sale. This, I'm pretty sure Nikki wants to keep. She loves Golisopod. Very nice. The surface got a 9.5. So it was the centering that hit this one again pretty hard. So it's a clean card. CGC said so. Alright. Shiny Espeon. We got a 9. Again, super pleased. Wasn't expecting a 10 because of the centering. It's so easy to tell when these are the slightest bit off because of the black outline with that. So I liked how easy it was to just kind of guesstimate how bad or good the centering was with these, but with a lot of the newer alternate arts and the Bs and stuff, it's hard because the art blends over those lines. And it makes it harder to see. We got a 9 for this EV promo. Very, very happy. Another Rayquaza, another 9. Still happy with that. He will also be for sale. A Bam. We got a cute little Dedenne. This guy's going to be for sale. The alternate art that came in the trainer toolbox. Charizards. Here we go. 99999. Very, very consistent there with all of the 9s. Can't be mad at that. This one I'm pretty excited about. 9. Centering. Yeah, it's pretty wonk. But I was hoping it would get a 9.5 just because that would pretty much guarantee it would get PSA 10. CGC grade's really, really hard. I know people who have sent in cards to CGC and they've gotten 9s, and then they've turned, or 9.5s, turned around and turned into Black Label 10s. They've had 9s turn into PSA 10s. So do with that information what you will. And then this guy. Obviously, he is going to be for sale. Most of Nikki's Charizard cards are PSA graded, so she wants to stick more with that, you know, that look for her graded cards. So these will be used to fund some other parts of the collection. This is from the Neo Premium file, if anybody's wondering. It says it right there, but yeah. So it'll be, probably by the time this video's out, I will have some information up on Instagram about purchasing these cards if anybody's interested. Before we get into the 9.5s and the last 9, I want to share something with you guys that I never expected to happen, and never, literally never crossed my mind. And when I opened the box and took all these graded cards out to get ready for the video, I didn't even know what this meant. Qualified grade. So the first thing that struck me was, why is that a different color? I don't understand. Why is it green? So I looked it up. Qualified labels. A qualified label is used by CGC for collectibles that have a significant defect that needs specific description, or to note an unauthenticated signature, one which is not witnessed by CGC. For example, a comic book with a missing coupon that otherwise grades a 6 will receive a qualified grade. Avoiding a considerably lower grade, CGC would give this book a qualified grade of 6 and a label text notation, a coupon missing from page. You know, they tell you what's wrong. This is not a card for my personal collection. I purchased this off of eBay as a gift for my wife. Inked. Inked. Somebody colored the edges blue to sell it for a higher price, so it wouldn't be, I guess, moderately played. But I didn't notice it. I still can't exactly pinpoint where they colored. But I'm so mad I can't even think. Sell your card for what it is, because if somebody gets it graded and then they find out you colored all over it, they're gonna be mad. And since I bought this off eBay, I'm able and going to contact the seller. So, not much I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna tell them that I think it's shitty that they colored on my card. Not that it was an incredibly expensive card. I mean, come on, guys. I paid $20 for that card. I still would have paid $20 if you hadn't colored it. So frustrated. So frustrated. Alright. Here's where we get into the borderline agitating territory. The 9.5s. Some of these I wish to hell were 10s, and I feel like maybe if I hadn't gotten subgrades, they would be 10s. But whatever. You know. Very excited, because some of these are definitely going to help fund the Full Art Trainer collection. We've got a 9.5 for the Pokemon Center Lady Japanese Promo. A very beautiful card. Super, super happy that it graded so high. Again, very, very nice card. Very popular card. The Red and Pikachu will also be for sale. Now these, I'm not sure about selling yet, because I don't have the whole set. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do. But we got 3 Scream promos that we had graded. Psyduck was our lowest scoring at a 9, which was a little sad. I conferred with a friend of mine who gets a lot of stuff graded, and they said I wouldn't try regrading the 9 just because the Psyduck, because the centering is so obviously flawed. But I was really hoping maybe to regrade them to get 10s at maybe PSA or something, but the centering is visibly off. So I really don't think it would get a 10. Now, for these two, I highly considered regrading most definitely the Rowlet, because it is so perfect, but I don't know how hard it is to crack these cases. And I don't know if I can not damage the card, But I also wouldn't want to send it in to be cross-graded, because I feel like with the grades right there, how hard would it be for them to just say, okay, yeah, it's 9.5. You know, if I send it in with the information given, why would they not just give it the same grade? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I don't think it would be lower, because CGC grades very hard. But I felt like we were so close to 10s on these. It was just like a tease, but very happy to get 9.5s. I wish they were all the same grade. I wish they all got 9.5s, but I digress. And then our last two, we've got another Charizard, 9.5 for the this Champion's Path promo. And the Charizard and Breaks In, probably the most hated Charizard card in recent years. Bam, 9.5. Overall, not bad. Not terrible. Something we learned, KANTO needs to scrutinize more. And I think we all need to be a little bit more harsh on our own cards. We don't want to you know, vocalize that our cards have flaws. We want to feel like we have perfect cards. But I think it's more about being honest with yourself before you send stuff for grading. Because a lot of money was wasted, I feel. Because there will be quite a few of these that are cracked out of the cases. So I guess it's a lesson for everyone, right? Alright, just want to go ahead and wrap things up. I really appreciate you guys sticking around. I know this was a long video, but I had a lot to say, and I still have a lot more to say. There will be a part 2 to my whole grading, like, not necessarily a process, but there will be another video to come out where I want to talk about grading in a different light. Just mainly because of this experience. It has opened my eyes to a lot of things, and overall I think I will always look back on this experience with optimism and a positive attitude, because I did learn a lot. Hopefully we will still be able to use these cards for their intended purpose, which is to help fund other parts of the collection, and I hope that anybody else that saw my first video and took the initiative to send their own cards to get graded to help fund parts of their collection, I hope that it works out well for you too. But not every single card in the world needs to be graded. And I think I threw some in there that I knew deep down didn't need to be graded, but I wanted just to send as many as I could that I thought would be good to sell. And, you know, we might be in a little bit of trouble with some of the cards. Obviously, we're not really in financial trouble here. We're just not going to see the profit and the ability to purchase things for the collection that I had originally thought. But I appreciate you guys sticking around and waiting all these long months to see this. If you're interested in purchasing any of the cards, you can let me know down in the comments below, or you can contact me on Instagram. You can also contact me via email if you would like to. My email is always in the description below, as well as any other contact information you would need, my P.O. box, all that. All of my information is in my beacons link for my other social media accounts if you would like to check me out there. I appreciate all of the kind words that everybody has sent from all of my frustrations about CGC. I try to harbor no ill will against the company and kind of just look at it as a whole, that it's been a crazy year for Pokemon. But I hope you guys have a safe and wonderful rest of your week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.